Hello and good morning. I have a couple of new goodies that I would really like to share with you. So today we're going to do a good old chatty get ready with me where I try a couple of old products, and I'm also planning on revisiting the Dior Pastel Glow Queen. In the interest of time, as usual, I'm just going to start doing my makeup. I'm taking the Urban Decay Primer Potion to apply as an eyeshadow primer. So on Monday I was actually pretty far with filming that video because I wanted to experience together with you the Chanel Sublimage Concealer. That's one of the new products we're going to talk about today. And I also wanted to do a look with the Dior Queen, where I apply the lavender shade all over my lid and the mint green in the inner corner, and I apply as a sparkle one of the shades from the Moonstone Glow palette from Bobbi Brown. The look turned out really pretty. However, somewhere like a little past the midway point, just before I had started doing my eye makeup, my SD card decided to go bonkers and something went wrong. I lost the footage. I'm going to take the Prada Reveal Foundation in the shade LN5. I'm not really sure what's going on with my SD card because this is not the first time in the past couple of months that it does wild things. And I tried reformatting it again. I ran like a diagnostic check on it, so let's see how it goes. But I think I might just be due for a new SD card because obviously I use this one quite heavily. I put stuff on it, I deleted. I'm guessing it's lived a pretty full life, but according to the internet, SD cards can live up to 10 years, and I'm pretty sure I've only had the current SD card that's in my camera for not more than, I don't know, 3-4 years tops. But perhaps if you use it with the intensity with which I use it, that those 10 years are cramped into a shorter period of time. Anyway, I don't know why I'm going on and on about my SD card. You don't really care about my SD card at all. In more exciting news, by now you will have seen the epic pet pairing collab video with Martina. I'm super curious what you thought about it. Obviously by now the video will have been posted because I'm filming this like about 2 weeks after I filmed that video, and it's supposed to go up tomorrow in my time. It's very confusing with the time schedule. I just wanted to have that video ready on time because if I have taken the commitment to do a collab video with someone, I really want to be prepared on time. So I filmed that video about 2 weeks in advance. I edited it, I uploaded everything, it is ready to go because I didn't want to, you know, last minute not be able to film for whatever reason and have to delay the process. I don't, you know, when I take a responsibility and a commitment, I like to be stipped with mine. Alright, let's apply a little bit of concealer now, finally getting to the Chanel Sublimage Concealer. So the Chanel Sublimage Concealer, I'm just mentioning this here for my Dutchies in case you're curious where I bought this. Unfortunately, you can only buy this on the Chanel website. They don't sell it on any of the retailers, which is very unfortunate because on the retailers you can often get these types of products with some, you know, discount, but unfortunately they do not sell the concealer on those websites. Ironically, they do sell the foundation. I don't know whether it actually ever goes on sale because from what I can tell, the Sublimage line also has a skincare counterpart to it, not just the makeup, and all the like products in that line are very expensive, like they're really bougie. So I'm not really sure that they ever actually go on sale. I think they're like mid-tier range products. They go on sale more often, but I'm not sure about the Sublimage line. So maybe either way I would not have been able to get it on a discount because it is ridiculously expensive. This thing costs 100 euros. So if you go on the Chanel website in the Netherlands, pretty much all the shades except for the lightest, I think, one in the range is sold out. That's not to say that the actual shade is sold out. It might be that it was just never available here. I'm not sure. I already have a product that is a foundation E-type product from their line. That's the Chanel Water Fresh Complexion Touch, and I have this one in the shade 30 or B30 or something of the sorts, and that is just a hint too dark for me. So I usually prefer to use it in the summer, and since 20 was the lightest shade that I could get, I figured if 30 is slightly too dark for me, 20 either will be my skin tone or slightly lighter than my skin tone. Now, from what I can tell, this is more or less my skin tone. I don't think it's much lighter than my skin tone. And this will be compared to my beloved Dior Skin Correct concealer in the shade 1N. So I have this one in the shade 1N. This is my favorite concealer that I've tried in the past, maybe forever, because it just does miracles for my under eyes. It never looks dehydrated. It wears really well throughout the day. It is a sublime concealer, but they've reformulated it, so I don't know whether the new version of this is as good as the version that I have. And Martina's been really raving about the Chanel Sublimage, so I thought I might give it a try. The Sublimage came in a fancy little box, and it also comes with a little plastic spatula, which I suppose is for you to like scoop out the product because it is in a stupid pot. That's the only thing that I really dislike about it. And it also came with this teeny tiny sponge, which looks very cute, but I don't think that it's the kind of sponge that I would use to apply my concealer. I mean, you never know. It has a really like nice angle to it, so it might actually be really nice, but I'm just going to use my Sonia G brush because that's my tried and true. Now the product itself, when you open it, I mean, it is a very hefty feeling in the hand kind of jar. It is weighted, it is glass, it is very luxurious in the hand, so you know, a bunch of the price that you're paying for is also probably for the super bougie packaging. It came with a little plastic protector here. I already got rid of that because nobody got time to remove that every day. And this is how the product looks like in terms of the depth of the shade. Now I'm going to swatch this for you next to my beloved Dior concealer, because I think it's really nice to see the difference in the shades, if there is one, of course. Alright, so this is the Dior Skin Correct 1N, and this is the Sublimage from Chanel. And I think they're actually rather close. I think the Chanel one is maybe just a hint deeper and a hint more peach in undertone, which might not be the worst thing, because I have, you know, quite a bit of like the skin under my eyes is almost translucent, so you can see a lot of like my veins, and I usually don't really care if you can see a little bit of my veins poking through as long as the concealer isn't drying, which is why I really love this one. This one has a decent amount of coverage, like really decent, and it never looks cakey underneath my eyes. Now, this is certainly more travel friendly. The Chanel Sublimage concealer is literally just going to stand like this in my drawer here, and it will never be tilted in any sort of way. Without further ado, let's just apply the concealer. So, since I've already worn this a couple of times, I sort of have an opinion on it, which basically boils down to, I actually don't find that this looks very different than the Dior Skin Correct. It does feel very creamy, it goes on the skin very beautifully, but I don't find it more like luminous looking and hydrating compared to the Dior concealer, and it sort of like wears in the same sort of way. It doesn't look unpleasant, it never looks cakey, it doesn't gather in my fine lines a lot, like a little bit, of course, like every cream product is going to gather in your fine lines if you have fine lines. And I don't really set underneath my eye, so I can't really tell you what happens if you set this concealer. But as far as the coverage and the way it wears, let me zoom you in a little bit, I find that this looks basically identical to the Dior concealer for me, at least on my under eyes. It looks very nice. It's not like super high coverage, but it's also not a very light coverage. It brightens underneath my eyes, or maybe it doesn't brighten as much as the Dior one, because I think this one is just much closer to my skin tone than the Dior one, which is a hint lighter. But at the very least it like melts with my own like skin color, so it doesn't look like an off shade, which is a huge relief, because I was a little bit worried that this might be too dark for me, in case it doesn't work out, and you really don't want your concealer to be too dark. I'm curious what you think about it and how it looks on camera, but like to me at least, I don't really see a huge difference compared to the Dior one. But I also have to tell you, when it comes to foundation and concealer, you have to take everything with like 10 grains of salt, because everyone's skin reacts differently to products. So something that will look the same on me as the Dior concealer might look completely different under your eyes. But at least I'm happy that it doesn't look worse than the Dior concealer. Would I have wanted it to look just slightly more hydrating and creamy? Maybe. but given the state of my under eyes, maybe, you know, I'm reaching for the stars here. Taking the Dior Backstage powder in the shade 2 and to set the Prada foundation. And then we can go back to chatting about the video with Martina, which, like I mentioned, I pre-filmed already 2 weeks ago, so you know the timelines are all confused. But I'm actually very glad that I filmed that video 2 weeks ago, because if I had had to film it last week, it would have been an absolute struggle for me. Last week I was in a very foul mood, and I knew very well what the reason for my foul mood was, but I couldn't really do anything about it. And when I'm in a mood like this, filming is very hard. I can barely get like a string of coherent words out of me, and then when I edit it, I hate everything. So last week I was editing 2 videos, like a very old one for the lipstick rotation series and the Dior pastel quint, and when I started editing the lipstick video, I basically hated everything and I wanted to delete it. And then I realized, okay, this is all in my head, it is the hormones speaking. So let it cool off a bit. Just edit the video, put it up, it will be fine. I'm going to quickly do my brows with the Too Faced Laminating Brow Wax, but I'm just going to like speed through that. Perhaps one thing I do want to add about the Too Faced Laminating Brow Wax though, I'm pretty sure that some weeks ago one of you asked me a question about this product and I forgot to respond, and then for the life of me I could not remember which video it was and where the comment is, so I'm going to answer here. I hope you're watching. Someone asked me whether the laminating brow wax from Too Faced leaves like white crusties in your brows, and the answer is, if you don't comb them away with a separate spoolie, which is why I have a separate spoolie, then yes it will, because it's quite thick, and if you're only relying on the spoolie of the product itself, oops, sorry, it is going to apply too much product, you're not going to be able to comb it away, so you need a separate clean spoolie in order to get rid of that extra product. And then I have had no issues with like white crusties. When I first started using the product and I was just using the spoolie of the Too Faced product itself, I did get white crusties in my brows, which wasn't my fave. But now that I have this separate spoolie, problem has been solved, and I love that Too Faced Laminating Brow Wax. It is my favorite basically brow product. Let's do Hermes for bronzer and blush today. For bronzer I'm going to take the shade Toturi, which is the lightest shade in the range of this bronzer. So I basically hated everything last week, and I'm really happy that I had already filmed the collab video with Martina on a day when I was in a really good mood. It was the day I had taken off, and the video turned out really well. Like, I quite enjoyed the way the video went. Obviously I could have, you know, said things differently. I always think that I can say things better, but anyway, that's just, you know, personal insecurities. But as far as, you know, my usual, you know, comfort speaking to the camera, which is still really weird, goes, I think that video turned out really well. And if I had filmed it last week, it would have been an absolute disaster, because PMS was strong last week. It was bad. I think a lot of you here are my age. Some of you are even a little bit older than I am. I don't know what your experience has been, but I've noticed that ever since I started circling the 40s, and now that I'm in my 40s, my period is wild. Things are happening to my body that have not happened ever before. I've had to, you know, start worrying about things and being conscious about things that I haven't had to worry about since I was in freaking high school. For instance, traveling within the first like day or two after I get my period now fills me with horror, because the second day of my period is basically like a fucking crime scene. I know, too much information, but I think we should talk about this kind of thing. We should be comfortable to share that kind of thing so that we can commiserate. Anyway, for blush I'm going to take the Hermes blush in the shade Rose Tan, which is, I think, going to be perfect for the look that I'm going for today. So, for today's look, you're going to see a couple of new products. First and foremost, we're going to do another look with the Dior Pastel Glow Quint. Oh, the fail with the Titania topper last week was a prime example of how when I'm cranky, like even my makeup doesn't really go well. But anyway, for today's topper, I'm going to show you one of my new Lisa Eldridge liquid eyeshadows, which you saw, well, you didn't really see it, but I mentioned it in the video with Martina when I received my Lisa Eldridge package. And I've been wanting to show you that eyeshadow for a little bit now, but I haven't had the opportunity to come and film a video with it. So today we're going to play around with that as well. I really love the tone of this blush. I've actually really grown to like the two Hermes products that I have for the face. In terms of like the actual makeup products, they're really high quality. I will admit I'm slightly still disappointed that the packaging is not as hefty as I was hoping for it to be. It's still very, you know, it feels good in the hand, but not as good in the hand as their lipsticks. So that's something that I will always hold against these products. But in terms of the actual makeup products and the powders, I think they look absolutely fabulous. They have that really nice smoothing quality, they're beautiful tones, and I'm really happy with both of these, and I've been using them a lot. I'm going to take my beloved Nude Glow from Dior to highlight. You already saw the Chanel Sublimage concealer, and I think one of the most exciting things that you're going to see in this video, because you will have already seen the sculpt liners from Lisa Eldridge in the video with Martina, but I'm still going to use one of them today because technically they also qualify as a new product in my collection. But I'm finally trying to get to the point that I bought a new Prada lipstick in the soft matte formula, courtesy of Alicia, our beloved Alicia Archer, who could sell me stale bread. It's very dangerous for me to go and watch her videos because I go in to watch her videos simply to enjoy putting on the makeup, and then I leave the videos having like a wish list of at least 10 things. So that's very dangerous. Anyway, in one of her recent videos, or like in several of her recent videos, I think she tried Prada makeup for the first time as well, and I think she's been just as infatuated by it as I have been. And she demoed a shade of their soft matte lipsticks, the shade Sedona, and it just looked so incredibly beautiful on her that next thing you know it, I was on the Prada website purchasing the lipstick. At the very least, I was good and I only purchased the refill. I did not purchase the whole thing because I do not have the same sort of like compulsive obsession with the packaging of Prada as I do with the packaging of Hermes. So I'm not super attached to having more of their like actual components of the lipstick, so I thought it's fine if I buy the refill and I just swap around Cyan for Sedona. I'm going to set all the products on my face with the setting spray, the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray from Charlotte Tilbury. I wanted to say Lisa Eldridge and Natasha Denona before I settled on Charlotte Tilbury. You can tell Charlotte is not my first choice, but this setting spray is really good. I actually think that it extends the wear time of my makeup. In the beginning, I wasn't really able to tell the difference, and I really thought that I don't detect much of a difference with the MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus. But now that I've used this for a couple of months, I actually think it performs slightly better in terms of extending the makeup compared to the Fix Plus by MAC. Alright, let's get into the eye look. Unfortunately, since I lost the footage with the lavender shade, and I already wore the lavender and the green shade a couple of days ago, I am going to go back to the shades that, well, one of the shades that I used in my original video with this palette, but this is the one here, the coppery, bronzish, reddish, brownish shade. I'm very intrigued by this shade. I want to put this one in my inner corners, or maybe like half this one, and then apply the topper on the center of the lid. But yeah, so unfortunately you're not going to see still these two shades in action, so I hope that you don't mind too much that we're dipping back into the warmer shades of this palette. I'm going to take the rosy copper brown shade, and I'm going to start applying that all over the lid, maybe keeping it more like in the outer portion of the lid so that I have a little bit of space for the peachy one above that to apply all over the lid. But I actually have not worn this specific shade all over my lids yet, and I really like this shadow. I really like these types of tones on myself, and I think this is going to be just such a perfect base for the shadow from Lisa Eldridge. The shadow from Lisa Eldridge is beautiful. It is in the shade Angelica, and I was a bit hesitant to get Angelica in the beginning because I thought it would be too similar to Luna Rose from Pat McGrath Labs, but they're not all that similar. I think Angelica is a little bit deeper and has like different types of sparkle. Luna Rose is gorgeous, but Angelica is also very pretty. And I really like the tone of this eyeshadow. This is the kind of shade that looks very flattering on me as a neutral. In other news, last week we went to see Jesus Christ Superstar. You guys know, or if you don't know, I am a huge musical theater fan, and since last year I basically decided that I'm going to start following what kind of musicals are being released in the Netherlands, and I'm going to get tickets every time I see something interesting. And we've already seen Spring Awakening, we saw Six, which was amazing, and last week on Thursday we saw Jesus Christ Superstar. I'm going to take the peachy pinky shade from the Dior Quint on a somewhat more flat brush, because I want to apply that also in my inner corners. I think this is a very pretty, very ethereal shade, and it's going to also look very nice in the inner corners. And it was totally epic. This time we didn't have to travel very far because the musical is new and they're sort of doing a tour of the Netherlands. It's a Dutch cast, by the way, young people. Actually, a couple of them I recognized from Spring Awakening last year, and they did such a good job. The kids were amazing, the music was magical. I had forgotten how wonderful Jesus Christ Superstar from Andrew Lloyd Webber is. I've seen the film many years ago, and I don't know which version of the film I've seen, the 73 version or the somewhat later version from the 2000s, but I'm sure that I've seen the movie on TV, but I had never like really listened to the music, and now I listened to the music. By the way, I'm going to quickly take the Dior Quint again. I'm going to take the deeper shade and apply that on my lower lashes. I slightly regret that I didn't purchase tickets for 2 of their shows when they were here, because after watching the show and then going to re-listen the music, I thought, oh crap, I would have actually really liked to see the show one more time. So I will know for next time that, if possible, but you know that's also really difficult to arrange. If I want to see the show twice and I want to go with hubs, and we've been doing that together, actually going to all of these events. If I want to go with hubs, we have to arrange babysitting for Nicola, and it would have been, I think, more difficult to arrange babysitting for several consecutive days. So either way, it would have been difficult to arrange going with the 2 of us to see it twice, but man, would I have loved to see it again. If you really wanted to just stick to the Dior Quint, this is a very soft, very pretty, very ethereal. But as you know, I like to bring in some sparkle. So now I'm going to take the shade from Lisa Eldridge. This is in the shade Angelica, like I said. I can quickly swatch this shade for you. This is what I would call like a neutral rosy shade with quite a nice, like deep bronzy base to it, and a beautiful amount of shimmer and sparkle of like different colors, which you can see right now because the sun is once again gone. So I'm going to try to shine an artificial light on it so that you can maybe see a little bit of the sparkles. It's very pretty, it's very dimensional. I see sparkles that are like pink and green and gold. It's beautiful. I've already worn it a couple of times and I really, really like it. So the way I usually go about these eyeshadows is I apply a little bit on the back of my hand, and then I will go in with a flat shader type brush so that I can disperse and distribute the product on my lids somewhat more sheerly, because I'm never really looking for full impact and pigmentation when it comes to these eyeshadows. And then I'm going to whack that basically all over the lid as like a thin layer over the shades from the Dior Quint. Nothing crazy, just an extra level of shimmer and dimensionality. It's very hard to detect that dimensionality in daylight. You will have to stand in artificial lighting. So I will of course do sparkle moment at the end of this video to show you how this looks like, but it is beautiful. This shade also looks absolutely stunning if you layer it over the baked peachy shade from the Bridgerton 2 palette. And then you pair it with Kitten Mischief from Lisa Eldridge on your lips, and you put the blush from the Bridgerton 2 wheel, like the peachy one, the baked one. Match made in heaven. Alright, I'm back and I'm really excited because it is lipstick time. So, as I mentioned, I ordered one of the soft mattes because that is the formula that I've been the most intrigued by when it comes to Prada, and I have to say, if you're looking for like a completely new experience in terms of texture with lipstick, then I would highly recommend the Prada lipsticks. Nothing else is like them on the market, and no one else has done anything innovative with lipstick formulas in a while. These are truly something new. So this is the shade Sedona, and Sedona looks like an absolutely magical, you know, warm type of nude. It's how it looked on Alicia as well, and that's why I fell in love with it. Now, yesterday in because I received the package yesterday, but I was out with a friend and I came back, and in the evening when I looked at the color I thought, oh no, this actually looks a lot like Muse from Lisa Eldridge. So let me show them to you. But I think actually the two colors are quite different from each other. If you look at the bullets, they look slightly similar, but when you put them on your lips and you are going to actually see swatches on my lips of the two lipsticks, you can tell that they're completely different shades. Oh, if you didn't know that, this is how the Prada bullets look like. They are beautiful. They have this really interesting enveloping of the bullet with like this nylon type, you know, texture on it. It has the Prada logo, and it also has the little cute triangle from Prada. I really like that. It's not the most comfortable when applying your lipstick, but it actually goes away after a few uses and it just becomes like a regular bullet. So this is the shade Sedona. And I really love this formula specifically because it is very like soft and cushiony and very like blurring on the lips. It is so interesting. And here we have Muse from Lisa Eldridge. On a swatch like this, they actually look a lot more similar than they are in reality. I will now insert the footage of me wearing both of these, and you can see actually how different they are when you apply them on the lips. Muse is much more neutral, almost like cool toned, whereas Sedona is much more of a warmer nude. And I figured maybe since it's a warmer nude, we can also compare it to the original shade that I purchased in this line, which is this one. This is the shade Cyan. Okay, so this is Cyan and this is Sedona, and you can see that they're both like in the nude, warm nude kind of family, but this has a bit more like pink terracotta to it, whereas this is just a little bit more like a neutral terracotta, if you will. Now I'm going to quickly line my lips, and I think out of the two new pencils that I purchased from Lisa Eldridge, which you've already seen in my video with Martina, the 1W, which is the shade that you haven't seen me demo yet, is the one that's going to work better. So I'm going to quickly line my lips using the new Sculpt and Shade Lip Pencil from Lisa Eldridge. I don't know whether you can see much, but this is 1W, just applied on its own. And I've already worn this one actually a couple of times with a Kitten Mischief, and it is the perfect lip liner for Kitten Mischief. But now let's go in with Sedona. I really like this shade. It is such a gorgeous neutral. It has warmth but also mutedness to the tone. It has again that beautiful blurring quality on the lips. It is not too loud, but it is also not too nude and like washing you out. It is such a beautiful shade, and I really love how it works with the rest of the look. Actually, the whole look turned out quite monochromatic, and I'm not too mad at it. Usually this is the kind of eye look that I would pair with a bolder type lipstick, but I actually really like the softer vibes that we got going on today, and I don't know why I'm voguing. Let me show you the sparkles. So here is a sparkle moment for the enthusiasts out there, so that we can also appreciate a little bit more the beautiful sparkles of Angelica. Okay, here is also a little bit more of like a zoomed out version, and I'm continuing to vogue for whatever reason. Do let me know what you thought about this look. What did you think about all the products that we tested out today? I think I'm the most excited about the lipstick because the lipstick is absolutely gorgeous, and I really like this formula. I think it is such a cool formula. I can't stop saying how much I enjoy this formula. I'm actually really happy with everything that I tested out in this video and that I have brought into my collection. It all like sparks joy, and I'm really happy with it. I think in particular I am super happy with the lipstick because it is such a gorgeous color in this beautiful new exciting formula. But I'm curious to for you to share your thoughts. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!